What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Namejamie, and today I'm going to be showing you a guide on how to master Brawl, giving you all the tips and tricks I have learned along the way to 500. For those of you who are new to the channel, just a little background about myself is that I'm a relatively new brawler who has been climbing more and more champions to 500 each day, and was looking for some useful guides and couldn't really find any, so I decided that I would just start making them. In the future, I will be having Poco and level 1 Crow guide all the way up to 500, and recently I just did Nita all the way to 500, so I'm going to be pumping out those videos in the next few days. Lastly, for all the OG watchers who came here originally to this channel for my old school RuneScape content, there will be more old school RuneScape content, and I'm sorry for such a long break I had. But life became busy and I became lazy, so sorry about that, but I will be back to it, I promise you. So now, before we start the gameplay, I just want to talk a little bit about this video itself. This is a Showdown specific guide. I only play Showdown. I don't play Brawl Ball. I don't play Gem Mode. I don't play Heist. I don't play any of the team games. I don't like them. So this is specifically for players who only like to play Showdown, who like to play the solo games, and want to climb any champion or any brawler all the way up to 500 trophies, being any power level. The power level in this video is 5. I've done all other brawlers who are only level 1 all the way up to 500, so it is possible, and I'm hopefully going to be showing you guys how to do that in Showdown today. Now, before we even show any Showdown footage, I want to first go over Showdown, the game mode itself. I see a lot of people play Showdown, don't really understand the system that well, and because of that, they don't understand how their champion best fits into the Showdown game mode itself based on that champion's specific weaknesses and advantages. And so, because of that, they're often not able to push effectively trophy-wise, and they end up getting stuck maybe in the 350, 400, 450 range trophies and aren't able to reach the 500 mark. So I think it's important that we actually break down the Showdown system itself before we get into any specific gameplay. So as you can see on screen, I'm going to be putting up the trophy system ranking itself for Showdown. As we can see, there's actually a discrepancy between trophies and ranking. So what I mean by that is that there isn't consistency up the ladder. So in other words, every time someone dies and you get one better place, you don't actually get the same amount of trophies for finishing better per place, so that we can actually see that some positions on the ladder are actually more advantageous than other positions, even though they're not the optimal position, being coming in first place. So as we can see, for coming in 10th place, you gain, for instance, -7 trophies. For coming in 9th place, however, you gain -6 trophies. But for coming in 8th place, you gain -4 trophies. So as we can see, 10, 9, and 8 are all one position away from each other, right? But for coming in 9th as compared to 10th, you only gain 1 trophy. But for coming in 8th as compared to 9, you gain 2 trophies. Right? So even though you're still losing trophies, the amount of trophies you gain for moving from these two positions is actually greater. So because it's greater, we can actually see that it is better to come in 8th instead of 9th, as opposed to 9th compared to 10th. So now that we understand the ranking system itself a little bit, we can use some inductive reasoning around this system and the strengths and cons of our character or brawler itself, and we can begin to form an opinion about how our brawler should fit into the game mode. So Bull himself is a very tanky, very high damage, close range champion. So up close, he will 2-shot or 3-shot any champion, really. But he cannot battle anyone from a distance, really, and can be chased down and cornered and killed, sort of like an elephant almost, I would say. Like, Bull is basically an elephant. You want to be in close quarters because your size and your high damage at and health at a close distance is too great to overcome, but from a distance you can be shot by a sniper like Piper. So because of this, a lot of people think that Bull is only good on the maps with a bunch of grass cover in the middle. And while this is somewhat true, maps such as Feast or Famine, Cavern Churn, Scored Stone, those are all very good for Bull, but they're not necessarily his best map. I think his best map is actually Double Trouble. The reason for this is twofold. One, it has enough coverage and obstacles that allows you to close the distance between you and long range champions or brawlers without taking a ton of damage and get that close quarter fighting style that you need to succeed on Bull. The second is that the beginning layout is extremely essential for Bull, and we'll touch on that a little bit later in the video, but these two things combined make this map so good for Bull in Showdown. Lastly, before we get into the actual gameplay breakdowns, this map or this Showdown is happening during a special event. It's the special event that allows you to get the purple power-up, which increases your speed and damage. Now, this isn't necessary, and the entire guide is the exact same regardless of whether you're doing this during regular Showdown or special Showdown. But during special Showdown, you're able to capitalize on the fact that there's an incentive to fight for those, and therefore the games end quicker and the noobs are killed sooner, which allow you to place higher up on the rankings. And with that being said, I want to actually hop into the first gameplay breakdown. So this gameplay is obviously on the map Double Trouble. Basically here I'm just going to be going over the early game for Bull. No matter what map you play on, it's going to be generally the same. What you want to do is you want to find 1 to 2 boxes that are really close to you and instantly go burst them down. Again, one of the reasons I cited for Double Trouble being so good is that they put you in an area usually that those boxes are accessible just to you, which means you can run right up to them, kill them without having any worry, and that is perfect for Bull because you usually need to secure 1 to 3 power-ups to get through the early game, I find, and then this allows you also to become a dominant force in the late game. After you secure those 1 to 3 power-ups, what I like to do is go back and sit in a bush. What this is going to allow you to do is not finish in 10th or 9th place. Those places obviously net you -7 and -6 trophies. That will offset any gains you've just made in your prior 2 games. So never ever finish in those 2 places, and that's why I always advise waiting for 2 people to die before you start doing anything in any Showdown game. On screen you can see I'm not trying to fight anyone, even though I was pushing that Piper. I was just doing a bit of zone control to try and push these people closer to each other so that they don't fight me and target me, and that way I can again hop from bush to bush and survive here just using some obstacles and some bush for cover. Now that we're in the mid game, I try and make this thing called a power move. It's your defining move where you go kill someone and gain their power-ups and really start to dominate the match. Here I try and do it against Primo. Unfortunately, I end up engaging Piper after and she ends up killing me. But during every mid-game, you want to make a power move to start dominating the game. And then generally, the end game is pretty simple. You just kill the last few people remaining. From here, I want to talk about some specific strategies to get to the mid and end game. The first one is pinching. Pinching is when you damage someone and drive them in a certain direction with your damage, typically to another player. By damaging them enough, you're able to push them to this other player, which creates a crossfire and traps that player, basically eliminating them guaranteed. Here, Spike pushes me to Leon. They're able to create that crossfire. I have nowhere to go, instantly dead. The next one is teaming up. Teaming up is essential. Even though I don't like it, it is essential. On Bull, it allows you to secure a very strong early game, which we talked about is necessary to get yourself to the mid and late game, and basically secure the power-ups you need to dominate. Now, after teaming up, we're going to go over ult use. Bull has 2 uses for his ult primarily. One is to get away, and one is to engage. I would only use it to engage on really squishy targets you can't get to, like Dino Mike or the rocket guy. But here you see me use it to avoid confrontation in the end game, and then we pull a beautiful pinch on this Shelly, pushing her to the Leon and killing her. So there you saw me use my ult to get away. Very simple. You just face it in the direction you want to get to and run for your life. I kept a little bit of this clip in again to show you how I pinched the Colt, and then basically we used a bunch of pinching, and I thought it was a pretty interesting clip to take a look at. After this, I have the most important advice I would give you for all your characters, and that is the clear left and right. You need to learn how to dodge everything. As Bull is a close quarter combat brawler, you need to learn how to dodge bullets that are coming at you from the long range brawlers in order to live. Lastly, I just wanted to take all these steps and add a few more and analyze this last clip that was actually played at the beginning of the video, because I think it's a super important clip to analyze in order to get better and help people a little bit. Basically, here in the last clip, we're going to go over a few last things, and that is line of sight, recovery, focus, and pinching. So as you can see, I'm in a bush in the final 5, and the fog is closing in. So I don't want to appear, because that would create a line of sight on me for this spike. He would then focus me and other people, and he would probably keep focusing me until I was dead. So I wait until the very last moment when I can pinch this Dino Mike, and make him a more viable target for people to focus. So here I pinch Mortis and Dino Mike up, right? Basically condemning both of them to their death. Then I get out of line of sight to not only recover, but stop people from focusing me, allow them to kill off the Mortis, and then I allow the Spike and the Leon to go at each other while I make my final power move. I end up getting ulted here, so I have to back off, and what do I immediately do? Get out of line of sight again, so they focus each other, and then Leon ends up killing him for me, and then I'm able to kill Leon. So this is basically my guide, guys. Hopefully it can help you in some way. Like, comment, and subscribe down below if you enjoyed this. My name is Namejamie, and I'll see you guys in the next one.